Hello and welcome to this special about the current situation in the commodities markets. The commodities super cycle is in full effect. A lot has happened in the past 2 weeks. We need to talk about, we need to figure out where we stand, what we're going to do next. Let's talk about it in this special. Welcome to Hot Trades of the Day, your show for swing trading ideas for the coming days, weeks and month. Okay, so let's start with looking at everything a little bit from a bird view, right? Bird view perspective of the commodity markets. And let's start with the performance of the first half. I know that in the past 2 weeks, a lot has changed and the performances have changed a lot, right? For example, copper just broke through the highs, so that is right up there with platinum now. Silver has gone up, so that's higher. Palladium, they didn't put palladium on here, should be on here, would be right up there too. It's up about, I don't know, what is it, like 42%? This is more to give you an overall idea where we stand in the markets, and where we stand in the markets, as you can see, with the exception of the China stocks, and maybe the DAX a little bit, nothing is rocking as much as the commodities. Bitcoin and the cryptos are, right? But that's their own thing. More important, look at the bottom. Yeah, the stock markets have improved a little bit, but the discrepancy to the commodities is significant. And that's important for us to understand. Why? Because now we started the third quarter, the fourth quarter, window dressing is going to come in. People will put more money to work in the commodity sector. I say this all the time, and this will be one of the most important points that you can take out of this video. The commodity market is a pure trend following market. You compare that to the equity markets. The equity markets, yes, trend following is really popular, but you also have value investors, momentum investors, growth investors. You don't really have that in the commodity sector when it comes to the institutional money and the retail money outside the commodity experts. And that's a smaller circle. That's not that big, right? So the commodities move, right? The commodities move when the big money comes in. And the big money uses simple trend following models in the commodity sector exclusively. We make new highs in platinum, palladium, silver, buy orders are coming in. And that is why it's important for us to understand commodities, top performers, first half 2025, right? That will likely only attract more and more money. Now, there will be big corrections, but this is the overall sentiment. Now, let's look at the sectors of the US stock markets. This is the sectors of the US stock markets. Again, has changed by now. Not important. What's important is that we see what's the overall situation. It's unbelievable. Look at this, right? The gold stocks, the silver mining stocks, copper mining stocks, just massively outperforming everything else. Look at the Mag 7 stocks have done nothing in the first half, right? Yeah, the chip stocks have done well. That's basically what kept up the NASDAQ. But as you can see, massive outperformance in the mining stocks. That's what we need to keep in mind. That's where the momentum is. We have the wind in our back. Okay, great. Now let's look at the charts, because so much has happened. And we're going to start with silver. All right. So obviously, we saw this significant breakout. This is the weekly, by the way, to clear things up, right? Significant breakout over the last resistance, massive short squeeze. And where will we go? Well, I expect us to at least reach this first resistance zone around 40, right? That'll be a magic mark. Maybe we'll go over it, and then it'll pull in the retail investors. We move up. But we also need to keep in mind, if you look at the RSI down here, we are not overbought yet, but we're getting there fast, right? And also, if you look at the 50, you see that we're moving far away from the 50. And every time we move far away from the 50 here, for example, eventually we have come back to it. I expect, by the way, a very similar situation with silver. We move and we're going to have like a sideways consolidation over time, right? To get us back to the 50. So right now, silver is super hot. If we get pullbacks in silver, you want to get in on silver and on the silver miners if you don't have positions yet. If you have positions, which I hope you do, because we've been talking about this for a year that this would come, right? Then I would hold on to the positions. I wouldn't sell it. I'm personally not selling anything, miners or the metals. I'm looking for possibilities to add, which is not easy in this market. Now, let's take a look at gold. And this is the first real interesting part that we're coming through, right? You just saw the silver chart, silver breaking out. Now we look at gold and we see gold is going sideways. This is significant for two reasons. The first reason is we're seeing rotation within the commodity sector. This is new. Usually would have a spike in gold, traders would jump in, would make some money, then there would be a consolidation. They would pull their money out of the commodity sector, looking at tech, looking at other sectors to invest in. Now, we don't see this anymore, right? Gold is going sideways. Money is coming out of the gold market, and it's going into silver, it's going into platinum, it's going into copper, especially into copper, right? And into palladium. This is very, very positive. Also, second thing, it is very, very positive. Let me flip back to this right here. Even though these are not the accurate numbers, that's not the point. The point is, right now, silver has a better performance than gold, copper has a better performance than gold, platinum has a better performance than gold, and palladium has a better performance than gold. They all, remember how the year started. Gold was moving, nothing else was really moving. Silver a little bit, but that was kind of it. Right? Copper a little bit, but that was kind of it. Gold was the star for quite a while. Now this has changed. Now the other metals have overtaken gold. This is super healthy. This is what we normally see in commodity bull markets, which short term tells us, okay, money is moving out to the riskier end of the curve, which means we're closer to a correction phase, which is healthy, right? End of the first quarter break, makes sense. But this is the typical phenomenon that we see. And that supports the thesis, yes, we are in a commodity supercycle. This is not only a gold thing, like the pessimists were saying for months, if you remember, right? And I told you guys, no, we have a supercycle. Well, the supercycle is here. This is the proof. So I've been also talking about gold not doing anything. And as you can see here on the weekly, that's exactly what's happening. Really nothing is happening in gold until we break this upper resistance zone of this sideways channel, right? If we do this like here, we go up, we bump our head, we go back down. Yeah, okay, so correction continues. We break out, then we'll reassess, that's fine. But as of this moment, this is just a continuation of the consolidation, which is completely healthy and fine. Now let's take a look at platinum. Just amazing, but extremely overbought, right? Look at the RSI down here. Extremely overbought. If we go back, we have to go back a long time. I'm still scrolling, right? Until we find levels. By the way, we're not here yet. Oh, here we are, right? So until we find levels where we are with the RSI. But this is what I meant when I was talking about trend following investing, right? We broke here and then we just kept going up. And this is one of the points that we need to understand now. And actually, I'll be quite honest here and open that it took me too long to get it. And that is the sentiment for the commodity sector has completely changed now. We're now officially in a bull market where everybody wants to be in, right? Beginning of the year, remember, first 2 months of the year, first quarter maybe, it was still, gold was going up, the miners were not going up, and when we were going down, they were going down significantly. You could still find great entry points. This is over now. We have to see this more as a chip sector 2023 situation now, where even smaller pullbacks, we want to get in on the long side. Platinum looks great, small market, right? So that means the money really moves the price. We get a correction, which is overdue. I mean, look at this. We got 2, 4, 6 green candles in a row now, right? And on the weekly. As you can see, we haven't had that in quite a while, right? Usually we have 3, 4 maybe, right? But as you can see, we can go back and there's always 1 or 2 red candles in there after 4 months at the latest, right? So here we have 5, not 6 though. And after that, we had a big correction. Okay, that was also 2019. That was a different animal. But all these lead us to say, okay, action is happening, but short term, we're overbought. I rather miss out on another 5% gain right now, to be honest, than jump on board right now. And I'll probably miss out on this gain. But this is ready for a correction, especially if there are other metals that are now more interesting. And that leads us obviously to palladium. Look at this monster move that we have on palladium. Look at this up move. Beautiful weekly close, right? Highest weekly close since 2023. You see the clear bottoming formation here, the uptrend. All it takes is that we break this purple resistance zone, and then we're off to the races. I'm personally hoping that we're going to get a pullback so we can get back in at a little bit of a cheaper price. But don't be surprised to see a rotation now of money from platinum going into palladium, going into silver, going into copper, right? So, oops, sorry, this is coffee. We'll talk about the X on another video. I wanted to do it this video, but it's too much. So, if we look at copper, real interesting, you see that it broke above this uptrend. Copper has formed an uptrend channel since 2022, right? And it hit the top. It broke above it, but then as you can see on the weekly, it came back down to it. It closed above it. We need to see what's happening. If that holds that breakout, we'll obviously see very fast additional buying. But would I buy copper here? I personally wouldn't, right? We're pretty far from the 50, and whatever we've seen, we always come back to the 50. So right now, we'll be even on the downside, right? Go down fast, come back to the 50. What I'm not worried about is that Trump is going to reverse course, which he usually does. We have the signals on the monthly, on the weekly. The chart signals are there. The breakout is there. Copper is running. Everybody wants to put money to work in the metals. So I think copper is going to go higher. I think copper is going to go higher significantly mid to long term. Short term, that's a pretty wild guess, and I don't like to guess. So I'm not jumping on the copper bandwagon right now, not when we hit the upper end of that channel. Now let's take a look at the one commodity that's right, the one ring to rule them all, right? Big Lord of the Rings fan here, and that's oil. So oil is the commodity that basically tells the people that don't pay close attention that we're in a commodity bull market. Because gold is different. Gold is a safe haven. And usually when gold goes up, the majority of the regular investors are like, yeah, these are the gold freaks, right? They're always worried about the aliens landing, no big deal. But when oil breaks out, or copper, and we already have the breakout in copper, that is the signal where the majorities, the Joe Normal, say, whoa, something is happening in the commodity sector, I need to get in. Now, how are we looking here? Not bad, right? On the weekly, not bad at all. Way better than you would have thought in May down here, right? So we have the downtrend that's been in place since 2022. We clearly broke it, positive. This support zone down here, it held. I mean, it was close. Doesn't matter though, it held. We retested the break of the downtrend. Again, this is the weekly, but it's fine. Confirmed it, now we're moving up. Now the next back step is the purple line, the 50. Because as you can see, right, we have not been able to establish ourselves above the 50 for more than 3 weeks. So, well, here we did, but this was a little bit of a different situation. In this last downturn trend that I'm talking about, right, the 50 has been extremely important. As you can see here, we tried to break out, got just caught right back into it, and that led to a big sell-off. Same here. If we can now establish ourselves above the 50, that's the next big signal. And out of all the commodities, gold has the best R&I pattern of all of them, right? It is around 50, 52, so it's not overbought at all, but it's in the buying accumulation dynamic area, positive. It's moving up, positive. If you're not invested in oil stocks or in oil, that's the commodity I would look at right now. If we get over the 50, there could be action coming in on this quite quickly, right? This is really interesting. So let's get to uranium and look at uranium. Let's start with the uranium miners. They have cooled off, which is fine, right? Oops, come on, here we go. They have cooled off, which is fine. We needed that, right? After the monster move, April, May, June, we're right at the uptrend. 50 is starting to move up, very nice. And as you can see, we made a new high. We broke the downtrend. This looks great. Worst comes to worst, what could happen to us is that we retest this area right here, the upper end of the resistance zone, which is now support, and then we'll go up. So I have my eye open on this, right? Are we going to get another great buying opportunity in uranium? What's really interesting about uranium is that in the spot price, we have now seen the third month in a row where the spot price has gone up. And positive as well, we are closing in on $80 a pound. $80, big level. That's where a lot more investors get interesting, right? Where the alarms start ringing in a positive way in the chart programs and in investment programs. And then when you go over 100, that's when the euphoria sets in. We're far away from 100, but we're closing in on the 80. And 3 months in a row, that's the first time we have done this in like a year that we see this. And remember, we have the biggest it's not an investment forum. It's the biggest uranium convention. There we go. That's the right way to describe it. In London, it happens every year. And this is where the majority of the deals get made. So what usually happens in the uranium sector is that the uranium stocks, the producers, start to run ahead of this convention and the price as well, right? So we need to watch the uranium stocks very closely in the next weeks. Everybody will be focused on the metals. Everybody will be focused on oil. We also want to be focused on uranium, because if we see movement here, then we want to get in right away ahead of this convention. I'll be talking about this in the videos next week. All right, 20 minutes. Man, that's it for today. Now we have an idea. We're looking really good with the Supercycle. I love everything I see, but we are overbought in everything, almost, except oil. And we need to have a close eye on uranium. I personally am waiting for my chances. I'm not jumping, except for palladium. Any weakness in palladium, I'm buying that, because that is the latest breakout, and then we get the double breakout opportunity. As you can see, let me bring this chart up for you, because nobody's talking about palladium. Barely everybody's talking about platinum, right? But if palladium breaks this resistance zone right here, this purple zone, we gonna move fast. So this is what I'm looking at, and I'm also not selling anything, because again, yes, we moved a lot this year, and probably we need a digestion period for it, completely healthy. But there's more coming. That's why we're in this thing. That's why I invest in the commodity sector, because that's where the easy money is going to be made. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.